After this episode, I'm just like, I have so many questions. But one thing is for certain with regards to this show, and Chucky, you just got to pull an Antoine Dobson and you're like, hide your kids, hide your wife, because Chucky ain't playing. He's killing everybody on this show. Welcome to my safe cave-in. Thank you guys for joining me here for another review on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. We are here talking about the penultimate episode of Chucky. It's so sad that this season is almost over already, but yes, there's only one episode left of season 1, and we don't know if we're going to get a season 2. Cross the fingers that we do get a season 2. But yeah, if you have not seen episode 7 of Chucky, we will be talking spoilers for this episode. But first and foremost, if this is your first time clicking on my channel, welcome. My name is Michael, the Black Gay Comic Geek. I always say the things that I love to talk about in my fantasy has blood, sex, gore, and magic, and I also like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that is something that you are interested in, hopefully you enjoyed this video, you become a regular on the channel, and you check out the other videos, you like what you see, you subscribe. But if this is not your first time, or this is your first time, you can do me a favor and hit the like button. It'll really help with the YouTube algorithm and getting this video out there and my channel out there so I can continue to grow this train called the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. This episode is called Twice the Grieving, Double the Loss, and the synopsis is the kids desperately try to figure out Chucky's endgame before it's too late. Dun dun dun! And nobody's safe in this show, especially if you're an adult. Like, I did not expect the body count for this first season, especially from major characters. Like, obviously for a Chucky show, you know people are going to be unalived, but the characters that were unalived, I was just like, and I'm still like, where is this show gonna go in season 2? Like, half the characters or the major characters are all gone. So the episode opens on the funeral of Bree, and of course everybody's mourning, and we see Devin eventually show up to the funeral, and Jake gives him a hug. And then Junior comes out of nowhere. He's all upset because he feels like his entire life started crumbling apart when his cousin that he's always hated, Jake, has come into their lives. And I'm like, honestly, truth of the matter is, even though it's not Jake's fault, it's kind of true, because at the end of the day, Jake did bring Chucky home. So yeah, like I said, it's not Jake's fault, but there's still some semblance of truth. And so Jake has a confrontation, or Devin, not Devin, I'm getting all their names confused. Junior ends up having a confrontation with Jake, and he ends up punching Jake. And I'm telling you, the facial expressions from Zachary Arthur after he got punched, and he's just like, I can't deal with this boy, his facial expressions. But speaking of facial expressions, I soon had a facial expression at this moment right here. Jennifer Tilly's Tiffany ends up showing up at the funeral, and she has some type of connection to Logan. And she kisses him on the lips in front of everybody in the funeral. And I feel like he knows that Tiffany is a killer, so obviously he doesn't want to piss her off and then cause a whole, like, he looks scared at the same time. Like, I was just like, what is this? And clearly Tiffany knew what she was doing, showing up at that moment. And the synopsis of this show being about figuring out Chucky's endgame, I'm like, what is her endgame by showing up like that? Like, I was just like, what is happening? So now Junior thinks his father has been cheating on his mother this whole time, so he's even more set off than he was before. It's just drama all over the place, because then you jump to Andy and Kyle, and Andy ends up leaving Kyle on the side of the road by the gas station because, you know, the whole macho thing. Well, he doesn't want to put her in danger, and so he thinks that he can handle this whole thing by himself. And part of me also wonders, especially with the level of death and everything like that's going on, and especially with next week being the season finale, I would like this show would have a hell of vagina, because, you know, a lot of people say balls are weak. Like, you hit me in my balls, I'm falling over. Like, and they say Betty White didn't actually say this, but it's still a good quote. It was like, balls are sensitive and weak. If you really want to be tough, say somebody has a vagina. But if this show really wants to have vagina instead of balls, they would end the season finale by Chucky killing Andy Barclay. And I mean, obviously that's not something I wanted. Like the show started with, or the series started with Andy, it should end with Andy, but if they want to really bring it into the new generation, they would. I feel like it would be, the show would have hella vagina if they killed off Andy Barclay in the season finale. But speaking of, Chucky's not just killing off people, he's killing off relationships. And my ship, Jevin, why are you doing this to me? So because of Chucky being involved in the unaliving of Devin's mother, I cannot remember this woman's name, but the detective, now Devin has a hard time of even looking at Jake. He doesn't want to be around Jake. And then also, now that this whole thing is real, now that this whole thing is happening with somebody close to him being unalive, now he's like really looking at this situation and going, holy crap, like this is real. I feel like for him, this was probably just a fun little horror exercise or whatever, because he's such a fan of like murder mysteries and everything like that. Oh, the solving of the Charles Lee Ray murder and everything. But it's like now, no, things are actually real because his mother is now gone. And so now because of that, he's like, I'm sorry, Jake, like I don't want to be around you anymore. Being around you is hard. Every time I see you, I see her lying there on the ground, not moving, with her head twisted basically 360. Or is it 180? I don't know. I'm terrible with math. But I'm just like, after this, I'm like, give me hope. Because jumping forward to the end, Devin ends up going, I keep like fumbling over these names, but Devin ends up going to the house of Charles Lee Ray and is tied up by Nika Chucky Nucky and, why was I going to say Itzy? Why am I drawing a blank on these names? Lexi and Jake end up going to the house to save him. And I'm just like, hopefully, they end up saving his life and he's so overcome by appreciation that his boyfriend, that his man came and saved him, and they end up having another kiss in the season finale and they get back together. Oh, Jake, how could I ever doubt you? I love you. That's what I need by the end. They need to get back, keep my Jevin ship together and strong. And speaking of strong, we find out in this episode, there's been a little strong bond developing between Chucky and Junior. And this is where I ask the majority of my questions that I say I had after this episode. It's this moment right here. What? Because I'm just like, obviously, if Chucky and Junior are talking, Junior obviously knows that there is a demon-possessed or human-possessed, whatever he realized, there's a walking, talking, possessed doll. And so wouldn't that answer your question to when he asked Lexi, like, what's going on with you three? And Lexi came out and said, we're coming together because there's a doll that's possessed by the soul of Charles Lee Ray, yada, yada, yada. He's off murdering people. And he didn't believe her. And he's like, you don't have to make stuff up like that. Now, all of a sudden, you're seeing this doll walking and talking. Wouldn't you put two and two together and be like, oh, maybe they're right? And then I'm like, not only just that, but this doll is taking people out or wants you to take people out. Like, you wouldn't put two and two together and be like, oh, are you the one that got rid of my mom? Are you the one that got rid of the principal? Are you the one, like, all of these deaths and mysterious circumstances happening in Hackensack, and you see a mysterious circumstance literally in your living room talking to you? Like, is Junior that dumb? Or I mean, Lexi did say in the previous episode or the episode before that he doesn't have much imagination, and this is the clear example of that. But also with that, with Chucky's manipulation of Junior, we find out and we finally get our answers why Chucky has been constantly going to all these kids trying to get them to commit acts of unaliving. He wanted to get Jake to take out Lexi. He wanted to get Lexi to take out Jake. He tried to get the sister, the little girl, I can't think of her name, to either take out her mother, to take out Lexi, and then tried to get Jake to take out his father. Now we know why, because there's some type of voodoo magical ritual sacrifice of, I guess if he corrupts the innocent, it allows him to split his soul even more to an entire army of Chucky dolls. And so because of that, Junior ends up bludgeoning his father to death with the Chucky doll. And in the scene, I was like, how strong is Chucky's head that he's able to crush a person's, the human skull is very strong, especially the front part of the skull. Like, you know how strong that doll's head would have to be for him to do that to a person's skull? Like, you saw, his face was, ripped open. And I know I'm thinking too much about it, but like, that's what I was thinking of when it was happening. I was like, how strong is that Chucky head? But Junior does it. He becomes a psycho murderer. Like, I guess the next Charles Lee Ray, the apprentice of Charles Lee Ray. And part of me is like, I mean, out of all the kids, I thought it would have been Lexi, but I guess it makes sense that it would have been Junior with all the pressure and everything that's on him. So yeah, then they end up staring at Andy Barclay, who's about to enter into the house. And so with it being the season finale, is Andy gonna go? Is he gonna make it? Because if you're an adult on this show, your life expectancy seems to be very low, because only one kid has been unalive so far, which was Oliver, but everybody else are adult. I feel like the real hero of this series is gonna end up being that science teacher that ended up getting locked up. But you would think, considering Chucky was able to learn a little bit of voodoo from like a Voodoo's for Dummies book, that these kids would try to be looking up some level of magic and mysticism or whatever, considering they are dealing with a human possessed doll, and clearly he's using magic to do everything that he's doing. It's not like the new Child's Play movie, which I had not seen. I heard it was terrible though, where it's all technology and AI based. But yeah, I'm like even more confused about where this show is going, because now there's a whole army of Chuckies and he got rid of almost all the adults. Like, yeah, what's gonna happen from here on out? And then like the kids, there aren't enough of them. It's just the three of them really. Jake, Devin, and Lexi. How are they going to take out an entire army of Chucky dolls? But I just want my Jevin-ship to remain intact. I need that in my life. Like, they better not kill not just the characters, but this relationship. Like, it's a personal investment for me. It's actually the reason I started watching this show in the first place. So keep it together. But yeah, like I'm here for this show. I'm still excited about this show. I cannot wait to see the season finale. But the question is, enough about me rambling and ranting. What did you guys think about this episode of Chucky? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you can, hit that thumbs up button, please, 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 and like this video to really help out with the channel. If this is one of your first time checking out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.